to do. It's a little bit.
Is it?
Is that what it is? Whatever it is you're voting, you are. Dave here. Ooh. Dave, come up. David. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I know. Came in, I was doing this. I was had this.
What are you answer this?
Any preliminary matters?
I'd like to bring the October meeting of the City of Columbus Graphics Commission to order. Is there any preliminary business?
Yeah, just one issue, question, Mr. Cooper, we're going to do cases 2 and 3, the end of the agenda, and the applicant, Rebecca Green here has agreed to that. Your formal motion, Madam Chair.
Do I have a motion to move these to the end of the agenda? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, you sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So move this to the end. We'll start then with, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Start then with case number GC 21-023, 5801 Carl Road. Can everybody hear me? The applicant, please come forward. Oh, okay. I'll swear you in at the same time. That. During these swear you in, swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but yourself, you got?
I do.
Would you repeat your name for the record, your affiliation to this case?
Bruce Summerfeld representing Jim Harley of
Thank
Fairfield Enterprise.
Now swear on the staff. Ladies and gentlemen, swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but yourself, you got? Would you repeat your name for the record, your affiliation to these cases?
Amy Freeman, City of Columbus.
Bill Bennett. Columbus. America City Columbus.
Here, Dominic, City of Columbus.
Thank you. Who's presenting this one? How do you pronounce your names?
It's
Sure.
Dominic.
Thank you.
Dominic, yeah. It's tricky. All right. 5801 Carl Road is located at the southwest corner of Carl Road and East Dublin Grandview Service Road, and it's within the Northland Community Council and is zoned C4 Commercial District. The site was previously developed with a fast food restaurant. Surrounding uses are a religious facility to the east, gas station to the north, and a shopping center to the south and west. The applicant is proposing to redevelop the site with an enterprise rental car center. Variances are requested to increase the allowable graphic area from 32.0312 square feet to 47.53 square feet for the south elevation wall sign, and also to increase the number of additional graphics from 1 to 2, and to increase the graphic area for the second wall sign in the east elevation from 16 feet to 47.53 square feet, and to increase the graphic area for the third wall sign on the north elevation from 16 feet to 47.53 square feet. The Northland 1 area plan recommends signs to be cut with the scale and size of building facades and not obscure architectural lines. Planning supports this request as the 3 wall signs are consistent with the Northland 1 area plan, and the Northland Community Council recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as the 3 proposed wall signs are consistent with the Northland 1 area plan, as they are in keeping with the scale and size of building size. We do have a condition that the applicant shall commit to the stamped sign exhibits.
Thank you.
The question was originally, when we looked at the site, there was a pylon sign there. And the plan was made to put an enterprise reface on that pylon exhibit. And there was some discussion in Northland and others that a monument would be more fitting in that location. And as the monument sign wouldn't work, and we preferred then not to use the pylon sign, it really opened up the functionality of adding a third wall sign. And that's the gist of this application that's in front of you. The size increase is really because these are standard corporate identification signs that they use worldwide. And so it seems for branding purposes on the three elevations, because the scale fits so well that we would just make it more consistent.
Sandra, what's the hardship?
Hardship would be that the old pylon sign that was there can't be used anymore in deference to the new code, and rather than grandfather it, we opted to look at the reason for a monument sign. The monument sign wasn't as functional as the pylon sign that was there, but a sidewall sign is more functional than the recommended monument sign.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Anyone else would like to speak this case? Sir, please come forward. I need to swear you in. Swear to look through the whole truth, nothing but truth, so God.
I will.
Excuse me. Put your name for the record in relation to this case.
I will do that. My name is Dave Hall. I am here at the Northern Community Council Development Committee. And as Mr. Summerfeld and the staff have indicated, we have heard this case. We heard it on September 29th. The original application that we presented was the variant 337710B, which Mr. Summerfeld was explaining, to maintain wall signs in addition to ground signs. But ultimately, our committee agreed with the applicant that the ground sign would not be used, that instead we would support the maintenance of 3 sidewall signs. And those signs to be sized larger than the code normally would allow at 47.53 square feet. So our committee does support this application. The vote was 13-0.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I did forget to say that when you come to testify, please sign the form at the desk. Thank you. We'll have a motion, seems appropriate for this site, based on the facts that were presented. We have a motion for that effect.
Can I ask one question?
Oh, yes, sir. Mhm.
Mr. Hartley, did you say the pylon sign was eliminated?
Eliminated, gone, yes.
Gone, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being gone, you'd really be permitted the 2 wall signs, I would think. I mean, because I'm looking at here, it's
One
pointing
wall
to,
sign, the elevation that fronts the frontage Carl Road doesn't have an entrance. So
right,
that
right, and I
precludes
do,
that from having its wall sign on the front entrance anymore.
yeah, well, I'll get to that in a second.
A
But,
sidewall
yeah,
sign,
what I'm getting is you could have the 2 wall, because right now it's really a variance for 2 wall signs, the front and
correct,
side.
not 3.
Well, the third one's permitted, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, it was, in the staff report, it looked like it was 3 signs for 3 variances. We did need 2 variances.
For that one, the mass factor only allows it to be 32.
I
So
see.
they're asking to increase it to the 47.53. So yes, that is permitted. They're just asking for an increase in size.
Perfect answer. Okay, I just was curious of that. And then I do get the front, with the, so.
Yeah.
So I'd be glad to say that the facts presented to us in this case do present a hardship, and I support that.
Is that your motion, Mr.? Wait. Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a second to the motion?
I'll second.
You want to call roll, or can I do the voice vote?
For the finding of fact, I think
Voice vote. Then all in favor of that motion, sign by aye. Opposed? Guys have it, the motion. Now, may I have a motion for approval of this variance based on the hardship?
I'll make a motion based upon the finding of fact we just adopted, a variance is supported and it should be approved, and the application should be approved.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman,
Yes.
Mr. Dunker,
Yes.
Mayor Con.
Yes, that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case is UC 21-032, 1485 Polaris Parkway with the applicant, please come forward.
Question, what I'm
We're doing number 4, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you.
I skipped, sorry, this is case number 4,
Yeah.
1485 Polaris Parkway. Is there an applicant present? Okay, great. Sir, I need to swear you in. Swear to hold truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
Would you repeat your name for the record and your affiliation to this case?
Jeffrey Immel, here on behalf of Star Corporation.
Thank you, and don't forget to sign it, sir. Is that this one? Mara?
1485 Polaris Parkway,
Good, sorry.
located on the west side of Lyra Drive, approximately 405 feet south of Polaris Parkway, served by the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition, the limited conversion. The 12.2 acre site is developed with a Target department store and associated parking with access off Lyra Drive. Access off Lyra Drive. There is an existing drive-up beacon sign toward the front of the store. Surrounding uses include a department store to the west, a shopping center and retail store to the north, restaurants to the north and east, a motel and condominiums to the east, and apartments to the south. The applicant now proposes, there was a previous application at this site that is similar. It was approved for one beacon sign, and that has not expired, but they're revising their application. The applicant now proposes to remove the existing beacon sign, construct 2 new solar-powered beacon signs and 12 double-sided stand-in signs, and to convert 32 parking spaces into 24 drive-up stalls for online ordering. Beacon signs include a 39.3 square foot dark green cabinet matching the light poles. And double-sided signs are 6 feet tall with 5 square feet of graphic area on each side. The graphics plan is required to revise and replace the previous application, GC 20055, and allow multiple ground signs, direction, parking facilities. So the applicant, as I said, was granted approval of GC 20055 in February 2021, which proposed to construct 1 beacon sign and convert only 6 parking spaces. It was not implemented, and it still hasn't expired, so this would be replacing it. The Far North area plan states that large commercial developments utilize integrated signage. Planning division acknowledges that the beacon sign bases will match existing light pole bases and does not negatively impact the visual character of the site, and they are supportive. The Far North Columbus Communities Coalition recommended approval, and staff can recommend approval as is consistent with the area plan, and if you increase the signage appropriately, doesn't negatively impact visual character of the site.
Thank you. Sir, did you have anything to add to that?
No.
Are there any questions? Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this case? Not seeing anyone. This is the graphics plan. Can we vote on this? Seems appropriate here.
Mr. Bender?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Chair Thompson?
Yes, and it's approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Graphics plan. Same thing with the enterprise. We stamp it, we stamp on a gavel.
Thank you, sir. This is case number GC 21-033. This is number 5, 5152 North High Street. Would the applicant please come forward? Sir, first, I'll make sure you know yourself, God. Would you repeat your name for the record and affiliation to this case?
Pete Hatcher, expedite the deal.
Sorry, your
I'm
last.
sorry, I didn't catch that.
Pete Hatcher, Hatcher, with expedite the deal.
Thank you, sir. Don't forget to sign the sign-in sheet. Who's presenting this one? Yes, sir.
Right, 5152 North High Street is located on the east side of North High Street, approximately 150 feet north of Green Crest Drive, within the Clintonville Area Commission. It is zoned C4 Commercial District. This site is developed with a Taco Bell fast food restaurant and associated parking. Surrounding uses are a car wash to the north, a fast food restaurant to the south, and a retirement home to the west. The applicant proposes to update the existing menu sign by converting the manual changeable copy to an automatic changeable copy. And the variance is to allow an automatic changeable copy sign in the community commercial overlay. The Clintonville area plan discourages electronic or digital signs, but planning staff recognizes the request to display orders and menu items are ubiquitous for uses of this nature, and further note that the proposed signs are internal facing and not addressing North High Street frontage. Staff does not oppose this request. The Clintonville Area Commission recommends approval of this request. And although city staff, including the planning division, are generally not supportive of automatic changeable copy within the commercial overlay district, the proposed sign is internal to the site and not intended to be visualized or utilized from the right of way. The proposed location of the sign is not addressing North High Street, and thus the staff can recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to this case? Does anyone have any questions? Thank you, sir. I forgot to let you present. Do you have anything to add to the case?
I know I did not let you have any questions.
Could you give us your reason for hardship, please?
Yes, this is the changeable copy sign poses a digital order screen in the drive-through lane. The digital order screen is related to drive-through service itself and not visible from the right of way, and is only visible to the customer in the drive-through. The elimination of the sign will comply with 3377.08. The drive-through restaurant order screen just displays items purchased in the drive-through as an order confirmation process. This will enhance the customer experience in the drive-through. This is part of the branding standard for Taco Bell across the nation. This provides for a paperless menu to allow patrons to place their orders from the west corner of the turn.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do I have a motion for this variance?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Make the motion that we accept the facts that were presented in the case that was presented by the city staff to be acceptable to move forward to grant a variance for this.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, motion, you sign aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Then can we have a motion for approving the variance based on the finding of fact? Mr. Lloyd?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this variance based on the finding of facts.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. I'll call the roll on this. Thank you.
Mr. Cooperman,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Chair Thompson.
Yes, that is approved, sir. Thank you. Going on to number 6, which is GC 21-034, 4048 Morris Road, the applicant, please come forward. Sir, tell us what yourself you got.
I
Could
did.
you repeat your name for the record and affiliation to this case?
I'm Jeffrey O'Brown, attorney for the applicant.
Thank you. Who's presenting this one?
I am Chair Thompson.
Thank you.
This is GP 21-034 at 4048 Morris Road, located at the northeast corner of Morris Road and Purpose Road to Transit Drive. Within the Northland Community Council, zone C4 Commercial District.
The 1.47 acre site is currently developed with a parking lot. The area is heavily developed with commercial uses along the Morris Road corridor, including the self-storage, retail, and the East End Town Center development. The applicant proposes to install multiple graphics for a new medical office building. A primary code compliance sign of 95 square feet is proposed on the south elevation fronting the Morris Road frontage. Sidewalk signs are proposed on the west and east elevations, and variances are requested to increase the number of sidewalk signs from 1 to 2 and to increase their allowable size from 16 square feet to 126 square feet. Planning supports the proposal. The Northland One area plan recommends that signs be placed in size such as they are keeping in the size and scale of the building facades and general streetscape. New development should be designed to enhance pedestrian experience. These wall signs being proposed meet those guidelines. The Northland Community Council recommends approval of this request. An updated site plan is included in this PowerPoint presentation. It was provided for another zoning application, and I did my best to show where these signs would be located on that. The building is just pulled closer to the street, as compared to the site plan that's in your package.
Okay, thank you, sir.
In summary, staff can recommend approval of proposed signage as it complies with the provisions of the Northland One area plan, being in scale and size with the building facade and general streetscape. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
This is a new medical facility. It has a regional draw to it. If you know this part of Morris Road by Easton, access is limited. There is no direct access to, there is no direct eastbound access from Morris Road. There's a median that limits access. So you have to turn the block before that, Stelzer Road, and work your way back. We would have customers coming off of the freeway, and you can see the self-storage facility is closer to the street. The planning department asked us to see if we could move the building forward and eliminate the parking in front, which we were able to do. And that's what you're seeing there. We would like to have the signs on the east and west elevations increase a little bit, even though the sign on Morris Road frontage, if you add all those three, it is still below what the code would allow us to do for a wall sign facing Morris Road. So because of the location of this and the need to have some visibility in terms of directing people to it due to the traffic limitations and the fact that we are less overall signage than we could do out front, we request the variance for the side signs. In our discussions with Northland Community Council, they indicated they would be supportive as long as we also didn't have a freestanding sign out front. So I would just like to have you add a condition that there wouldn't be a freestanding sign out front. So that's something in the future, if they change the signage, we would run into an issue with what our discussions were with Northland.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to this case? Are you been
You
sworn?
don't look like that. Yes, I have been sworn.
Yes, sir.
Dave Hall with the Northland Community Council. Actually, I'll just say that Mr. Brown has very accurately stated the condition of our support for the application. The vote was 13-0 on September 29th to support it, with that provision that there would not be a ground sign in conjunction with these wall signs. But otherwise, the committee was happy to support it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion for this variance?
I'll do a motion. Based upon the facts presented, it appears a hardship exists and therefore a variance is warranted for the proposed application.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, use the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Is
I think we can vote based
Can we
on
vote
that
on this
motion.
based on-
I kind of tried to cover it all there.
Thank you. Can we vote on this based on, with the condition added that no freestanding sign would be allowed? Correct.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Guterman,
Yes.
Chair Johnson.
Yes, and that's approved. Thank
Thank you very much.
This is number 667 Parsons Avenue. The applicant, please come forward. Very knowledge who's enough to this up. Yeah. Would you repeat your name for the record and your affiliation to this case?
My name is Mitchell Powell. I work with CNB Sign Services, and I'm here representing Samir El Reef, the owner of the station.
Thank you, sir. Don't forget to sign it. Please read any announcements. Finish.
Mr. Chairman. 667 Parsons Avenue is located at the northwest corner of Parsons and East Beck Street, served by the South Side Area Commission in Zone C4 Commercial. The quarter-acre site is made up of 7 parcels developed for the gas station. There's an existing pole sign with manual changeable copy for fuel pricing on a parcel in the northeast corner. Surrounding uses include single and 2-unit dwellings and vacant land to the west, office and retail to the north and south, and a commercial warehouse to the east. The applicant proposes to combine all parcels and convert the fuel price sign to automatic changeable copy. Variance is to allow automatic changeable copy within the Parsons Avenue urban commercial overlay. The Southside plan discourages pole signs and electronic signage that interfere with visual character. Additionally, the property is within Parsons Avenue UCO, which prohibits automatic changeable copy signs. Planning division could support the use of automatic changeable copy for the fuel price sign if the sign were an overlay compliant monument sign pursuant to the recommendations of C2P2. Staff would support a setback variance to allow such a monument sign to be placed in a similar location. Only the South Side Area Commission recommended approval. City departments recommend conditional approval. The location and size and graphic area of the existing sign will remain the same, although planning is generally concerned with setting a precedent for these automatic changeable copy signs. Staff have consistently recommended approval in commercial overlay districts for fuel pricing only. So the conditions are recommended that the variance shall only apply to fuel price sign, a fuel price sign, and that the parcels will be combined.
Okay, thank you. Sir, would you present your case and please let us know what the hardship is?
Oh, yes, sir. I think he's covered most of it. There is, in addition to it just looking better and being less subject to wear and tear, an electronic price display doesn't require people to physically change out the letters. In this case, as we had the area commission down at the site for a meeting, you can see the letters are close to 10 feet off the ground. And so inevitably the little mechanism for changing out the letters at some point sticks. And then people are going up on ladders. And once the winter comes, sometimes that can be hazardous. So there is a safety advantage to moving to an electronic price display. And then just a couple other things I think were already mentioned. This is to be a static price display. There's only one price at a time in each of the segments. We'll have the diesel price and the regular price separate, standing still. Nothing's going to be toggling back and forth. And then the sign is going to remain the exact same size as the existing signage.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So there's 7 parcels that make up this site, and in order to avoid asking for another variance, you just combine them all so it's no longer off premise? Is that's crazy. There's 7. I would probably just put in the conditions that you identify all, like just say the 7 contiguous parcels shall be combined into one.
Yes, the written condition is that the contiguously owned parcel shall be.
I would just identify it. I'd say 7. That's so strange. How it's configured.
7.
Gary, you have an issue with that, sir? Are you good with that?
I know the owner is very reluctant to put the parcels together. I'm not 100% sure of the reasoning. He's, I guess, afraid that it will tie things together in real estate terms in some way that could cause him trouble down the line. However,
it's true, actually.
if the variance is only passed with the condition, then, we won't put in a sign unless we can get him to mind the parcels.
Thank you. Have a motion for this application.
I'll make a motion, based upon the facts presented, it would appear that a hardship exists, and as a result, a variance is warranted under the circumstances for this application and based on the conditions presented.
Thank you. Your second.
Simple then.
Properly moving second. All in favor of the motion, use the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Guys have it. And then we have a motion for passage of this application based upon
I think I already covered it.
finding the fact.
Yeah, I know we should do a separate vote, but that's a separate motion, right?
Separate vote.
Okay.
Do we have a motion for passage of this application based on finding of fact?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion based on the finding of facts that this variance is warranted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Based on this, let's vote on it as conditioned.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Chair Thompson.
Yes, and it is approved. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going back to the front now.
Yeah, next time.
This is number 2, 1485 Cassidy Avenue. Staff, please come forward. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
And they swear you in? Or don't want to keep it up to some regard?
I do.
Please state your name for the record and affiliation to this case.
Rebecca Green. With Zoning Resources, we are agent for the applicant.
Cindy Kingery, with Zoning Resources, agent for the applicant.
Thank you, ma'am. Who's been named? Mr. Freeze. These are very similar to all the ones we've had the last couple of months, correct?
Yeah, exactly right. I will say that for the first, for case number 2, on tonight's agenda, the only, we have point of contention, well, it originally was a point of contention, was a condition that the ground sign, proposed ground sign, be lowered to 10 feet tall from 20 feet tall. The applicant has since agreed to that, so it's no longer a point of contention. And there was a comment from the Department of Transportation, or Division of Traffic Management, that these signs here be added, which is part of the zoning. They just want to reiterate that these signs that say, to Cassidy Avenue, egress, or also be realized on the site plan, which on site plan, signing and stamping that highlights them. But generally, yeah, this application is not much different than the previous application. So if you want to expedite this and go directly to the applicant, I have no issue.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was hoping. Ladies, you have something to add?
Yes, I do. With this particular application for Cassidy Avenue, the egress and ingress is difficult. It's a very busy road, and as part of the approval process for this site, there was legislative text that was part of the rezoning that limited the access. So if you were going north and wanting to turn left, you would have to turn left at the top of that side, of the north portion of that side, for the shared easement. And at the bottom, or the south side of that particular side, it is a right turn only access. So there was specific signage that was required by the city and Department of Traffic for that, including signage on a span wire that would go across Cassidy Avenue. That's there on the kind of the north part, you can see the one. And then also signage that would require patrons to exit through a shared easement on the northwest corner of this particular site. So because of the various access points, we do believe there is a hardship for this particular case. Now, with respect to the monument sign, the Northeast Area Commission was very concerned about the height because they have also planning was concerned about the sign. And so, I think Jimmy, do you have a rendering of the proposed signage?
Oh, and your,
Can put on the little part, flash drive. they were very concerned about the height because the east area plan does recommend 10-foot sign. And I will say all of the additional signage, many of our neighbors, north, south, east, all have 20-foot signs as we proposed. However, Sheets was wanting to be sensitive to neighborhood concerns and also to the traffic in the area, and they proposed this particular sign. So for this sign, we are requesting a setback of 7 feet from the right of way, and also an area variance for the identification of the user of the site. Now, the original site that we proposed was a 43% was to have the identify the user at 43% of the graphic area. This one is at 48%, so it's a smaller variance than we would be requesting. So concerns of the area commission, and it's not as big a variance. So that other than that, it is exactly the same kind of variances that you've seen in the past for the open building, the temporary signage, projecting signs. Take any questions.
Okay, are there any questions? Period. Do I have a motion to approve the variances based upon the information provided?
I'll make a motion that the variance be approved based on the difficulty and complexity of the vehicular access traffic.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Based on the motion just passed, and I have a motion for approval of this request.
I'll make the motion that we approve this variance based on what was presented, the hardship that exists, and the variances that were spelled out all meet the requirements, and that the height has already been reduced, which was the only condition. So move for approval.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Let's vote on this. Let's call the roll.
We do have some people in the audience.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in this case? I didn't.
Just making sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Let's call the roll.
Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes,
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, and it is approved. Thank you. Let's go to the next case, which is BC 21-835, 920 Polaris Parkway. Mr. Freeze?
Sure. Once again, another sheet application, 920 Polaris Parkway. The site is within the Far North Homeless Communities Coalition. They have recommended approval. Staff has no conditions. To be expeditious, we will turn it back over to you.
Do you have anything to add, ladies?
I'll go ahead and state a hardship for this particular case is that this is a parcel that sits on the corner of Antares and Polaris. Antares, Polaris, the intersection there is not a signalized intersection. Also, a very large drainage ditch runs along Polaris Parkway there. So there are a number of visual problems with this particular site. Traffic runs uphill going from east to west on Polaris. And because of all these three conditions, it's a hardship that is carrying the signage to the site. And for those reasons, we would have that.
Yeah, thank you. Do I have a motion for finding of facts based on the information provided and hardship?
I can make a motion to this, based on the presentation of the sight lines and also the access from the main road.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, you can sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. And we now have a motion for approval of the variance.
I'd like to make a motion to approve variance based on the finding of facts.
Okay, we have a roll call for that, and there was no condition in this one, was there? Correct. We call the roll.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, that is approved. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Is there any other business, Mr. Freeze?
There's nothing on the agenda.
To try to extend the variance.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
All right,
Sorry.
I need to, I'll just swear you in too, ma'am. You're gonna testify and swear you in. Ladies, did you sign the sign-in sheet? Thank you. Ma'am, swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but true, self, God.
I did.
Would you repeat your name for the record?
My name is Jennifer Bender.
And what is your?
I am a project manager at Day Night Sign Company with stage on a pre-existing variance.
Do you remember what that case number was? Or the site address?
If I can find my.
I do remember speaking to someone in your
I've
office.
got the number.
I asked them to come speak to me before the meeting to remind me.
I was here right on, like,
Essentially, they were approved for a variance last year that variance is has a one-year limitation and it's about to expire. They're gonna ask for. We get the case number, we can make this part of it. You know who would have sent the email to me, or did you send it to me?
I did.
What was your name?
Jennifer, it'd be Jay Bender.
Hey, Elbender?
It's Jay Bender.
That's his email. So the case was GC 20-034, 1187 North High Street. The applicant would like to extend their variance, how long? 1 year? 1 year.
Okay. You don't know what happened. You call for it?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry. What was the, what were the facts of the case?
Oh, goodness, I was not part of it. What I know is that it was going to be a marquee sign, for the Short North Stage, and they cannot open, it's already an approved variance, but because of COVID, they've been set back in their progress forward, and they want to put the funds forward for an electronic message. That was most likely just going to sit silent for a while.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to extend this based on the information provided?
I forget what the case was.
Was it GC
20-034?
21, right?
Did you say 20? I thought you said 20.
Yeah, BZ 20-034. Oh, BZA. Maybe it's in GC. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so the proposal was to install a projecting wall sign for the theater that extends approximately 6 feet 4 inches into the right of way.
I recall.
This, so is this a,
That projecting garden sign is existing. They're trying to put a marquee in.
I'd be prepared to make a motion.
Can we hear your motion, Mr. Chair?
I'd like to make a motion that case GC 20-034, which is at 1187 North High Street, or part of the Short North area, the Garden Theater, that particular traffic commission application that was approved approximately a year ago be granted an extension for one more year. Is that the right amount of time?
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor, you sign it by.
Aye.
Is that all we need to do? Then it's granted, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll send you a reminder for later.
Great. Result in fine evening.
There is no other business. You're adjourned.
That was one of your best performances.